Medicines. Okay, let's see it. So I said, what are you alluding to? And I knew the Egyptians were building their pyramids. The Phoenicians were sailing the seas by means of mathematical calc was 10, 15 minutes away. Out there you're going to find one little shop, maybe a distance another little shop. But you must navigate your way among total strangers, not people you know. Now parents can't take the chance of giving the children money to go and buy anything at the shops because of the elements that's in the area now. They could get robbed, they could get stabbed with that couple of cents. So what do you find? Parents have to do either lunch or off to work, they have to buy groceries and they carry them with them. If you're living close to the bus stop or the train or the taxi, you're fine. But most of the people had to walk distances and there's absolutely no shelter in those towns. If you walk out of your front door on a winter's morning, by the time you hit your first sidewalk, you're already soaked. Then you still got to get your bus, your taxi, your train. When you get to work and having a dry clothing there, you're going to sit in that wet clothing until you go home, until you get home. What do you think is going to happen to your respiratory diseases like your TBs, your bronchitis, your pneumonias, your asthmas? They're all going to escalate. And that is what we hit the people in those areas. That's over and above people of allergies. And those poor Jackson bushes weren't helping for that either, that pollen. Now did the world know this? No. You guys have no clue on what we were going through in those areas. Still haven't got a clue what's happening in those areas. And because of, so we're sitting with big problems in those areas. Here we have a typical street in District 6 called Richmond Street. You can see it's a very old street of cobbled road. The wall of the Moravian church I spoke about earlier. Top of the hill you can see the Dutch influence of the Dutch gable. Behind it there's so-called white folk room with these arches on. This is your same street in 1984. Only your church remains where these so-called white folk live. Very well, total desolation, isolation and silence. Have you any questions? We kept there for 20 years. We asked our street things back. And on the 10th of December 1994, we opened this exhibition, called the Streets Exhibition. And this exhibition was only supposed to last for 2 weeks. We are still here. We asked people to bring in their own memorabilia, so everything inside the space has been donated by the Streets Exhibition. The text you see on the wall, the pictures of oral history we've taken off people. This clock you see hanging here is called the memory clock. And we asked all the people who came to visit the museum to write down where they lived and their thoughts about District 6. And we have a number of those clocks, we should put them each. We could probably cover kilometers plus more on the thousands upon thousands of names and thoughts about District 6. And nowhere would we find anything derogatory said about it, despite the government saying it was a slum, it was gang infested, and it needed to be cleared. One of the cloths that says, Happy Days District 6. Living was cheap and life precious. Now in Hanover Park, living is expensive and life is cheap. To show the transition from one to the other. Now when they came to the museum, they also wrote their names down. They asked your pens. Psychologically wanted to reclaim a space where they used to live before. Under the Land Restitution Act of 1994, people throughout the country were given the right to apply for restitution. District 6 is so different. And already a few people are moved in, but not on the scale that we were picked up. Because unfortunately, because of the corruption and underhand dealings that's happening throughout the world. So we need to have that to get rid of the bad elements sitting in Parliament. And the people, of course, not doing the job that should be done. So that's going to take a little while, but thank goodness action is being taken, and slowly but surely they're pulling out that angle. And hopefully that maybe in a year or two people will be able to start getting back or getting some compensation for what they have lost. I want you to have a look. Well, at these walls, look at the pictures, read the captions, look at it. And I want you to tell me in all honesty between these and slum property. Because this is the home of people that we demolish regularly. All kinds of friends of mine celebrating their mother's 80th birthday or something like that. And you see guys sitting around a piano having a sing-along. Just ordinary people. Because he was white. His family was classified as colored, they had to leave. He told the government up your pipe and he went with his family. Because he could do that, he was married before the laws were passed. But then you find lovers colorblind, and you find there are people that love each other across the color line. But now, they can't get married here. So they either have to go across the border to what was in Portuguese East Africa, Lorenzo Marques, or they go to Mozambique. And then, otherwise, they decide to go overseas, go on holiday, they decide to get married there. But when they come here, their marriage is not recognized by the country because they weren't married here. That was your brain dead people running this country. And it destroyed people's lives terribly. It even gave people the opportunity. You must remember that genetics plays quite a big part in many families. So you can get the fair, very fair, dark, blonde, blue-eyed, all in the same family. And those who were fair, they could apply for a white card, by the way, which the state would give them because they're trying to build up a white minority, on condition they have nothing to do with the so-called colored families anymore. So that broke families as well. And I know a family whose lives were destroyed by that. That's the reality of what that national government did in Malaysia. And you can see, yes, they are old, yes, they are dilapidated, yes, they are run down, but they were allowed to go that way. We had laws in place. Laws such as the Slums Act, the Public Health Act, the Housing Act. Why by slum laws they had to be served notices to operate their places, but they didn't. They allowed those who deteriorate, they used those pockets to tar the whole area with the same brush to give credibility to destroying it. And destroy it they did, bulldozing homes, bulldozing community places, all because they wanted the land which they could sell to the overseas markets at phenomenal prices. Then you look at this huge building that's being destroyed over here, which is right below Table Mountain. It is this 4-story building, consisting of 32 flats, either 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, lounge, kitchen, bathroom, toilet, 2 balconies, and of course, my view from this floor, this is my home that's being destroyed, was right across Table Bay, and the mountains in the distance. My view from the other side, an uninterrupted view of Table Mountain and Devil Street. And then of course my neighbors that I spoke to you earlier, they lived across the way here. And you know why the place is being destroyed? Because the developer wanted parking space for white people's cars. So they destroy a 4-story building, flatten it completely, and build little garages so white people can park their cars in. Now I ask you, where is the so-called economic sense of the so-called intelligent white person? If they sold any one of those flats for R1 million each in those days, that would have been 32 million rand per block. That's 64 million rand. They flattened that whole thing, then build little garages. How much can you charge a month for a garage? But it's a case of we can do what we want to, you can't tell us what to do. And we are taken out of these solid structures in the center of the city, and people find themselves in rubbish like that they call homes. Those structures, some of them are so small you could even change your mind in it, they might change your furniture in the damn things. That's the reality. Look at the conditions they have to go live under. In the distance, that's Table Mountain, and we used to live on the other side of that mountain. Can you imagine yourself being 70, 80 years old and you wake up This is what you're living in. And the people you knew are not even there. Can you imagine walking up at that front door by the time you hit that first side, you'll be already soaked. Then you're still going to get your transport. At night it's pitch dark. So if you're coming home late at night, you're going to be walking with a torch. Your bad elements already folded into the area can already see you coming from a distance. Before you know they're right onto you, they could stab you, they could kill you, nobody even know what they are. That's the reality of our children. Have you any questions?
Yeah. You saw the bad things in this? In malls?
Yes, there were quite a few. There were quite a few objected and voiced their opinion. But the minute you voiced your opinion, you became a communist or a dissident, and you could be picked up. You could be locked up. Your key can be thrown away. That's what happened to a lot of students who decided to stand up. All right. That's the reality of this country. Remember that all the laws in most countries, it's made by the money crowd. Right. Who's it carried out by? In most cases, people with less intellect. And they just follow the laws that we say. So, little children standing perhaps in the school grounds with a placard saying apartheid is wrong or something like that. Those policemen would come with these caskets and drive right through that fence and beat up on those children and the teachers. They'd be tear gassed. I was there. I was part of all that. Because these guys made the law. Friends of mine went in incarceration, some of them never came out alive. They died in detention. And that's why I can talk about all this here. Because I'm not reading it from books. I've lived it. For 34 years I worked among each and every one of the communities in those various areas. I suffered, but they suffered. So what comes out of my mouth is what I've experienced with those people. I'm giving you an opportunity to walk around. I'm not going to spoon feed you all the time. You can go and read upstairs. Anything you see you don't understand, please don't hesitate. Come and speak to me. And remember, there's no such thing as a stupid question or a silly question. It's silly not to ask a question because you don't know whether you get an answer to that. Now see if I can. Yes, not yet.
I just want to know, like, I'm from Australia, and so we had the stolen generation there, and the goal of that was to breed out.
Which part of Australia are you from?
I'm from I'm from Adelaide, but I live in
From Adelaide?
Yeah.
And you're living in?
Sorry?
Where are you living now?
Melbourne.
In
So not
Melbourne.
far.
Okay, not far away from each other.
But we had the stolen generations, and the goal there was to breed out the indigenous people so they can become a dying race. So I just wanted to know, did eugenics also play a role in apartheid here, like to garner that kind of racial superiority of whiteness?
That's what whiteness is all about.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole world, whiteness becomes a thing.
Yeah.
That's the mentality. That's why I said, when you bleed, tell me if you're bleeding white. We all bleed red. So what makes you think you're better than others? I went over there and I spoke at Edinburgh University. I spoke at Columbia University last year. I created a lot of furore there, but in any case I said exactly what I said going to say. So it didn't bother me in the least, because I've lived it and I've proved them wrong in so many cases. They couldn't answer me. They can't come talk about genetics and say that. Damn it all. I'll give you an example. That's why I made them one example and one bright spot that said that, what about it? Yes, okay, so fine. So finally Christian Barnard there was lauded for the first heart transplant. But they said nothing about the chap who was teaching you about that heart, who happened to be a black guy. You understand? So this is the kind of thing that I tear the people apart. Don't come along with the skin color, please. Wake up and smell the roses. It took all of us collectively to make this world. And at the moment it takes a hell of a lot of us, and it's destroying the world. Global warming wasn't done by nature. Global warming was done by us for greed, destroying the forest, for going after gold, going after oil, destroying land all over. Every war, what's it fought over? Power, money. For who? For a few. And the millions that die in between. What for? This is the reality that we've got to face. And that is what I tell all our youth. You are the future. This is your little world. You've got to ring the changes.